What's up, Warrior? Welcome back to Recession Proof Business Tips. We are going through a series on how to master the most important business tool that you got, which is your story. This is part 3 of 5. So if you missed any of the previous ones, then go back into my YouTube channel, subscribe there, and you can find those as well too. But today we're going to talk about how to create impactful and converting stories. So if you want to not just tell stories, but actually have them make money for you, this is what's going to be key. So we talked in the first couple of days, the framework of a successful story. There is a before where you talk about your problems and the things that are related to the solution providing. There's the then, which is your pivot, your solution, product, service, whatever you're offering. And then there's the now, which is what were the impacts? What were the results of the said solution? So if you have a good before, you capture people's attention when they say, hey, I got those problems. So if you're selling health and wellness, maybe the problems was craving control, menopausal weight. Maybe it was a fat loss. Maybe it was you need more energy in your life. Maybe it was you had financial issues, right? So the before captures people's attention. Then you share the then. So then they're like, oh, I want to learn more about that solution. And then you have the now where the results captivate them, where they say, I want from my before to your after. And that's when they're going to crave what it is that you are sharing. So, how do you make it even more impactful, though? I want to share with you a huge secret that anybody can use right now that it will make you so different, so marketable that will fill in your inbox with a lot of people wanting to know what you got to do. And the key is this: authenticity. Authenticity and vulnerability. We live in a social media age right now where I don't know if you agree with me or not, but it looks like everyone's looking like life is perfect. Everyone's got filtered photos. Everyone's got the right lighting. Everyone shows their Sunday best on their social media. When was the last time you actually saw somebody share a really bad photo of themselves? I mean, I know for me, when I post a photo, the first thing I do is I take a look at my face and I'm like, eh, it's got the wrong angle. Or maybe it's like it's the wrong lighting. Right? Let me redo that again. Right? Have you done that before? Can I get any real people with me today? Put a 1 below if that's ever happened with you. You've kind of second guessed a post that you made or something. But it's hard to be transparent these days. It's hard to be vulnerable. And because it is so rare, if you're willing to be the bold person that is willing to be transparent and vulnerable in an inspiring way, you will stand out like a sore thumb because people are craving authenticity. Even though we're more connected than ever before because of technology, we are the most disconnected generation in the world because there's a lack of transparency on things. So, how do you make a story that is not just good, but impactful? How do you make a story that is converting? How do you make it something incredible? Add a deeper layer of vulnerability to it. Okay. So, let's use this weight loss example that we've been using. Let's say in your before, you're talking about your problems, you're talking about your struggles. Don't only talk about the typical things. Maybe it's, man, I love food, or, oh man, like I had yo-yo weight gain. That's true. But what if you take it a level deeper and go into the motions of things? For example, okay, how do I make that weight loss story even better? I could share a deep personal thing that happened to me in my life. I could share how being somebody that had trouble losing weight impacted me in a very emotional way. So, for example, growing up, I was a chubby kid. This is true story, right? I was a chubby kid and I was picked on. In fact, people would make fun of me. They'd compare me to the Pillsbury Doughboy. And on the surface, I would laugh it off. On the surface, I would play around. But the reality was, it left with me such a deep, deep complex about me where I felt insignificant. I felt insecure. I would look at myself in the mirror and I would just hate who I saw. And I would just not want to be who I was. Like I would stop looking at myself. to wait was one of those things that was always a huge struggle. And it was to the point that I just didn't even want to think about it anymore. Right? Do you see? So do you see how now I'm going beneath the layer in the story? So in your story, talk about the pain point, but dive even deeper into it. Go into the place where people typically don't go into. Go into the psyche of it. Go into the emotional part of it. And in fact, even as I'm sharing this, and I'm not a chubby kid anymore, I've overcome that for sure. Even as I'm sharing that, I literally started to feel the pain again, the angst. So I'm going to challenge you in your story to go open those doors that you might have kept hidden and locked away for a long, long time. And I'll give you a warning, like there might be some emotions that come with this. You might shed a tear. You might have some things come up again. Even if you've healed through it, even if you've been, you've forgiven through that and you've gone through and you've broken through. But the way to make a very impactful and converting story is you have to get back into the feeling and the emotion of what it was like in those painful times. Because the best person to help someone else is someone that's been through that very same pain as well too. And pain isn't just talking about what happened. Pain is feeling that emotion. So can you open those doors again? Can you allow yourself to feel those things once again? Because the power is this: if you do, you're not going to linger there. Don't worry. You've already overcome it. You already worked through it. Because then when you are able to express those emotions, people don't need to have the same exact experience that you had, but they can feel the same feelings. Because we've all felt insecure. We've all felt broken. We've all felt like we were looked over. We've all felt like we were a failure. We've all felt those feelings of giving up. We've all felt desperate. So if you can actually talk about that, and you can, in marketing, they say it's like you drive a knife in it and then you twist it. That extra twist, that extra emotion, that extra punch gets people from saying just, yeah, I get what you're saying, to I know exactly how you feel. If you can do that in your story, you have now gone to a higher level, way higher than most other people will have. And out of the sea of stuff that's out there in today's world, your story will stand out like a sore thumb. If they relate with you in the pain, they will then want to hear what you did to overcome that pain. Now, I know with the story. I did this recently, and I made a post about a really challenging time in my life. I talked about there was a time in our business that our first business failed. Felt like an absolute failure. From 6 figures plus a year to 6 figures in debt, where I literally got to the point where I looked my wife in the eyes and I told her that I just give up. I was broken. But fortunately, she spoke life into me. And I dared to dream one more time, right? So I went deep into that story. In fact, even if you hear this, I'm not even going super into detail, but can you feel the emotions? Can you feel there was angst in there, right? We've all been through painful things. The saying is God doesn't waste a pain. Turn your pain into a purpose, right? So go back into that. Your greatest testimony is going to be, absolutely. Thanks so much, Serena. Your greatest testimony is behind your greatest pain. That's how you can impact other people. But then I talked about how that was before. And I remember, for example, we had to give up our home. It was a thing that was really hard to do because me and my wife loved it. It was our dream home, and my wife loved that house. But because things were really tough and we're rebuilding our business and our life, I remember the day I did tell her, I'm like, we got to let go of this home. It was so hard as a man, right? But you don't let them linger there, right? That was the before. Then we doubled back down. We put God first. We got back into business. We redesigned our entire business. We went completely online. We put everything back together. We got out of debt. We sacrificed for a little bit. We figured things out. And now, literally, we have signed up on the loan docs years later on an even dreamier home than the one that we had to let go of. Like, literally, today, we did our walkthrough of our dream home. And why I bring that up is You see, there's a story that because I went deeper into the pain, there's a deeper type of resonance with you. I shared this story on my social media. It went viral. It went crazy. There was so much buzz about that. And I just realized there's a power in vulnerability, there's a power in transparency. So for you and your business, for you and your stories, as if you want impactful converting stories, can you dig a little bit deeper under the surface into the pain points that you went through and be willing to be vulnerable to share that? And don't leave them there, but bring them through the then and bring them to the now so you can bring them on that journey. If you can do that and hit that emotional chord, wow, my gosh, you are now at a legendary status. So, hope this helped. We're going through the series of how to master your storytelling ability. This is part 3 of 5. So, if you want to listen into the previous ones or the later ones, be sure to like this, share this, and subscribe to my YouTube so you can find this and other recession-proof business tips as well too. And if any of this helped, let me know in the comments below as well too. I'd love to interact. I'd love to hear from you as well too. And if you are interested in this type of training and you want more information like this as well too, I run an organization called the Warrior Movement, and we coach people to build online businesses, phone-based businesses, in a fun, simple, professional way, and give them true training like this as well too. So if you're interested in more information about that, would love for you to go to my bio or go to my caption and fill out the form called "Work with Me," and we'd love to discuss to you what that looks like as well too. All right. But hope this encourages you. My commitment is if you commit to these recession-proof business tips, you're going to pick up practical business tips to help you and your family stay recession proof. So tune in for the final parts of our stories as well too. But other than that, we'll talk soon. Warrior out.